Yes, yes, yes. And I'm back. It's Darren Price, thesyllabus.org, Mr. First and 15th.blogspot.com. July 15th, 2014. I got a special guest here today. And some of you may know her, some of you may not. But I'll give her a moment to introduce herself and we'll just roll right on into the interview. You there?
I'm here.
All right, all right. Hey, this is Miss.
My name is Djuan Trent. I am a former Miss Kentucky motivational speaker and inspirational writer and an advocate for women's and African American rights and empowerment, as well as the LGBTQ community.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. And I had a pleasure, real quick, before we do get started, and people wonder how I meet these people and why I talk to the certain and why I talk to the people that I talk to is because they make some type of impact into the community. You know, as being a positive person, really showing the individuality and expressing that there's nothing wrong with being whoever you want to be. And I had the pleasure, and I don't know if you remember it or not, Djuan, that I was in the studio with you when you were getting ready to go in for Miss Kentucky. I was doing a Duke Ellington play, and we were getting some airplay for that at the radio station. So that was the first time I saw you, and I was like, okay.
Yes, I do remember that. It was with Patrice Muhammad.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right? Yep, that's right. So I was a little starstruck. Okay, you got me. But but needless to say, guys, I just been kind of following this individual because she's an inspiration. And we're going to go ahead and get started into the video. Again, this will be for July 15th, 2014. Again, as people know that everybody gets a post of videos from me every 1st and 15th of the month. So my first question basically is it's a two-part question. What do you think about the older generation, and what have you learned from them?
Well, that is a question that just really hits home for me because I was raised by my grandparents. So when I think of the older generation, I think of strength. I think of wisdom. And I just see a lot of lessons that are to be learned there. My grandparents are probably two of the kindest and sweetest people that I've ever known. And I mean, quite frankly, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here or be where I am today. And I listen to everything that they say. I value their opinion very much because the life that they live and the experiences that they've had, those are experiences that I probably won't ever have in my life. But there's things that I can definitely take away from because I think that I have a good understanding of, you know, why they feel the way that they feel about things or why they have the view on things that they do because they had to fight for a lot and they had to work hard to get what they wanted and to get where they were. And those are definitely values that they instilled in me. Absolutely.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. So the second part of that question is now, and I'm hitting everybody. So now the new generation, what have you learned or are you learning from the new generation, and what can you say about them?
I think that this new generation, we don't have a care in the world. And when I say that, I don't mean it in a like we're careless or reckless. Like, I don't mean it like that at all. I think that we are so headstrong and so just very like open about things. Like, I know that when I have a lot of conversations about different issues in politics or really just in the world, when I'm talking to like people from older generations, they tend to be a lot more conservative in their approach, and there are some things that people from my generation would say or do that they would never imagine doing. But it's like these days, like, we don't always care about being politically correct. Like, we just care about being right and you know, doing the right thing. Which I think, you know, is something cool. It's cool to see like the radical difference between the two generations, but to also see like that connectivity between the two, where like we both still have that, like fight or flight in us.
Right, right, and it's more intense with us, and that's my take on it as well. And people say, "Man, you kind of controversial." I said, "No, I'm just kind of straightforward."
Right, right.
I say what I mean what I say, and we're looking for the truth, and
Right.
we got to go get it because we're here now, so we're
Mhm.
we're not kids
Mhm.
anymore, and you guys just kind of got to scoot over just a little bit,
Right, right.
just a taste. But as a perfect answer, my next question is love. Love is such a big word, and people take it for granted. And just your opinion, what does love mean to you?
Love to me is when I think about the term love, because I had a thought earlier today, like in relationships, when it comes to relationships, or like when it comes to someone that you're dating,
Mm-hmm.
we take so long to say that L word, like it just takes forever.
Right.
But like, let someone mention your favorite rapper, or let someone mention your favorite food, and you're like, oh my god, I love cheesecake.
Right.
Like, like we use some words like so almost effortlessly and carelessly, but when it comes to like really putting that true meaning behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and putting like that, I guess like the significance of like the commitment that comes with telling someone that you're dating that you love them, that's probably the difference between like saying, hello person, I love you, and hello burrito, I love you.
Right.
But I think that love is one of those things that it comes in many different shapes and forms.
Mm-hmm.
We love in many different ways, and I don't think that I don't think it's strange for a person to have a sense of love for pretty much anything and everything in the world. Like I know humanitarians who love people just because they're alive, and not because they know them or for any other reason, but for the fact that you're a human life. And I know other people who take who are not so free about the love that they give and they share. And so I think that it's one of those things that is definitely relative for everyone. For me, love is one of those things that is definitely meant to share. I think it's important that if you love someone, that you tell them and that you show everyone love, and as many interactions as you can throughout the day, because sometimes you never know, like the experience or the interaction that you have with one person on one day may be like the only true vision of love that they might ever see.
Absolutely. And because you never know. I mean, a lot of people are looking for love, but they forget that it's really natural, and they don't know how to love themselves yet, so they're in fear of loving someone else because they're afraid of the accountability that comes along with it.
Right.
And those are the people that really don't know how to love themselves to begin with, and so they're scared to quote unquote love somebody else. And what does it mean? I mean, well, if you feel good about yourself, you take care of yourself, that's love. You're loving yourself and you're loving the people around you. That's what it's about.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between a person who loves themselves and like has a good concept or like grasp of what love means to them, and a person who struggles to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can tell. You can tell, and it happens all the time. And that's once we figure that out, I mean, the world will be a whole lot better place.
Definitely.
My next question to you, not particularly going into any detail about any specific people, but some type of advice that you may have given to someone, that may have been in a crisis in their life, no matter what it was. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything specific. Just maybe an experience or something that someone maybe reached out to you and asked for some help.
I think the best piece of advice that I've given anyone, and the thing that I love about this piece of advice is that this was a piece of advice that someone gave to me, that is applicable in almost any situation.
Right.
But it would definitely have to be to let go. Mm-hmm. Like, just let go. I think sometimes we are so afraid of letting go of things and people because we think that we need something, or we're afraid of, what would happen if we didn't have this thing or this person in our lives. But one of the things that we have to realize is that whatever we're supposed to have in our lives, we're going to have in our lives. And if you let go of something and it is meant to be in your life, it will come back. Like, I can guarantee you it's going to come back. There's nothing that you or this person or this thing can say or do that will keep you apart from that if they are meant to be in your life and if you're meant to be in their life.
Absolutely.
I think that the art, letting go, is so incredibly easy to do. I think it's too easy to do, and that's what scares people.
Right.
But it's one of the most beautiful things that I think that you could do, because I think that when you choose to, or when you allow yourself to let go of a person or a thing, especially if it's something that you are afraid of, it signifies a lot of things. It signifies trust. It signifies faith. It signifies, like, true love. Mm-hmm. Because those are the things that it takes to be comfortable enough to let go of something and to have no worries or no anxiety about whether or not you're doing the right thing. Knowing that if you let go, then this thing is either meant to be or not to be in your life, but that is not in your control. It's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen.
That's right. And people get confused, and when you think you really want to say, it's like, look, if it was meant to be, it's meant to be. If it doesn't come back to you, then it wasn't yours. So you weren't supposed to have it. And you just have to learn to move on.
And that goes for, like I said, that goes for a lot of things. Like, a lot of people will probably take that and relate it back to relationships, but that could go with anything. Like, sometimes we're so connected to our material possessions, or we're so connected to our jobs, or, we're so connected to things that can easily be replaced.
Yeah, absolutely. And those things that can easily be replaced, they can kill you.
Yeah.
The job and et cetera, those things that don't make you happy, they don't show you love. That's why you do struggle with love.
Right.
Because you're not surrounding yourself with the things that portray love. And I heard you mention faith, and that actually goes right into my next question. Now, I do have to continue to say this because people get it all mixed up, that I'm non-denominational. You praise whoever you want to praise, however you want to do it. Baptist, Methodist, whoever, or nobody. But myself, I believe in a higher power, and I call him God. And I have faith that there is somebody else out there looking down and taking care of us. So with that being said, to me, God is love, my opinion. And speaking of faith, what's your take on faith? I mean, because it's all connected. So let's talk about faith for a quick second. What's your take on faith?
Right, yeah. I was raised in a very Christian household. My grandmother was a devout Catholic, but also a Christian, which I don't really know if that's like a thing, like if that's allowed to happen, but that's how it was. My grandfather was a Baptist minister. My mother was a minister. My grandmother was a minister. I mean, I was surrounded by ministers.
You sound like me.
On Fridays, like, people used to get excited about Saturdays, but I didn't get excited about Saturdays because I knew that after Saturday came Sunday, which meant that I was going to be in church all day, and I just did not. Like, I remember seeing my grandmother sit and read through the paper to find whose church anniversary, deacon's anniversary, pastor's celebration, whatever. Like, we literally were in the church from sun up to sundown.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
and I'm gonna be like, I mean, I love the Lord, but all my friends are outside playing, and I'm still running around in ruffles. And
You're right.
you think, you know? Um,
I'm with you
but
on
my
that.
thing was, huh?
I said I'm with you on that.
But yeah, so faith was definitely a major part of my upbringing. And as I got older, I took a different take on it. I was given a little more freedom as to decide, like what I wanted to do as far as like what my ministry would be and what I wanted my role to be in the church and being able to go to just one service per day and not 12
Right.
or anything.
Right.
And but these days, the more that I think about faith and God and love and there being higher power, I will say that I definitely believe that there is a higher power, and I would never let go of the basis of my faith, just because that connects back to what is home for me, which would be my grandparents and that upbringing and everything that they instilled in me.
That's right.
But I have a very hard time believing that someone who prays to a God under a different name, or someone who believes in a higher power and maybe doesn't necessarily praise, but believes a lot more in meditation, or believes in. I definitely believe in like energies and what
Yes.
the universe gives and puts out to us and all of that. I believe in all of that, and I find that so many of the stories amongst the different religions are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
I can't bring myself to believe that you and your beautiful faith is different than what I was taught growing up. And because you don't believe specifically what I was taught when I was growing up, that means that you're going to hell, or that you're just going to be dead when you die, whatever it is that you believe.
Right, right. And that's I
Strong
mean,
believer. Go ahead.
right. I mean, no, go ahead. I'm just shaking my head over here because it's just.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm a strong believer in karma, and I'm a strong believer in like truly living a good life. Like, I feel like you can find God in almost anything.
Yes.
You just have to look for Him, and you just have to be like open to that. Him, her, whatever. But you have to look for it, and you have to be open.
Yes.
Is what I believe.
Absolutely. And just to touch on that, to tag on it, because as I've done quite a few interviews, and you're one of the very few people that have really kind of dug into that, and that's what a lot of people need to hear, because I myself, background very similar to yours, uncles, all the pastors. I grew up in Methodist, Baptist, all that kind of stuff, and I look at it, they're all man-made religions. AME is African Methodist. That's made by Richard Allen, whoever that's a man. I don't disrespect those different ways of praising, but you're right when you said, well, if you don't do it this way, you're going to go to hell, and this is the only way to do it. And yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement of people saying that you must be a Baptist if you want to go to heaven, or you got to do it the Catholic way. Yeah, I'm totally against that. But that's why I tell people.
Hold on.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so I live alone, and I just heard something downstairs, so I'm like, maybe people upstairs.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. You got good karma, so you be all right. Just somebody just trying to interrupt the goodness that's going on. Don't worry about it. It always happens. I just got a couple actually one more question anyway, but I'm glad you did touch on that, because it's so important that the people our age and the people coming up really do understand that it's okay to be an individual and praise God and that higher power any way you choose. And that's just great. I'm glad you answered that question that way. One other question: how would you like to be treated in your twilight years? And what I mean by twilight years is, as you become wiser, as you become older, what type of footprint? And I already know the answer, but I gotta have it so these other people can hear it. What type of footprint? How would you want to be treated when they look at Djuan Trent? Not that it really matters what somebody else has to say, but what is the footprint that you want to leave for the people behind you?
I'm sorry. Hold on just one second.
You okay? You're fine.
Oh, I forgot we were recording this. I'm sorry.
You okay? Don't worry about it. This live. This is the way I like it. I don't do any editing. I don't edit any of my videos. Nothing. That's the way I want it that way.
Okay, so what do I want my footprint to be?
Right. So some people say, well, when I get older, I want to be remembered as this or this type of person, or that's why I say about twilight years, because as you get older and wiser, it's twilight because you begin to shine even more.
I want to be remembered as someone who truly inspired people to understand themselves and love themselves and live in their own truth. One of the things that I definitely pride myself on the most is being able to inspire people through my speaking and through my writing, simply by talking about my life experiences and relating the stories and the lessons that I've gained from that back to people, because I think that a lot of times we feel that we're alone unless we hear someone else speak on those things and those experiences that we've gone through. And everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different struggle.
Yes.
And it's nice. It's a relief, really, to come across someone who inspires you and to know that you're able to connect with them in some way, be it, you were raised by your grandparents, or, you had an alcoholic or a drug abuse family member, or, you had low self-esteem growing up, or your family didn't have much money, or, anything. There's so many different things that we can all relate to that are below the surface level, that are below, just the things on the outside that define us, but the things on the inside that truly make us who we are.
Right.
Those are the things that I seek to connect people with, and those are the ways that I seek to inspire people, because that's what I want to be remembered as someone who truly inspired and truly pulled that out of people.
Yes.
To be comfortable with living in their truth and truly being who they are and celebrating every part of them and every part of their lives that has gotten them to where they are and where they want to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, it can't get any more greater than that. I mean, and I just have to tell you personally, you're doing that. I mean,
thank you.
You are. I mean, you really are. Like I said, I'm inspired by you, obviously. And you inspire a lot of people, obviously. And I mean, regardless, as you said, we got to teach. We got to let these people know it's okay.
Right.
It's okay to be you. It's okay to be an individual. It's okay to break the mold.
Right, absolutely.
Because that's what comes. Because everybody's like, "Oh, you broke the mold, so now you're a radical. Now you're a jerk, or now you don't know anything, or because you don't follow suit."
Right. Everybody wants you to stay inside of this box, and there's nothing in that box.
No, and I actually did a little presentation on the box. You can check my blog, and people were tripping out over it because I was telling people there is no box. The box doesn't exist. And it's just awesome. So I'm gonna wrap this up, and as I said, it's the truth, and that's what I like. I don't edit any videos or any interviews because it's not makeup. And that's what I like, and other people enjoy it because there's no makeup. I don't do commercials. I don't do any of that, and it's just raw and uncut, just how it is, and that's how people need to hear it. And
that sounds good. I mean, I'm all about keeping it real and all of that. So that's great.
So wonderful. Again, everybody, this is Djuan Trent. Again, you can find her on where you at. Tell us where you at.
You can find me on Facebook. My Facebook fan page is Djuan Trent. That's DJUAN Trent, TRENT. And my Instagram and Twitter name are the same thing, Djuan Trent, no spaces. So just type in my name and you can find me.
Great. And I do have to let you know you are amongst some of the greats that I've already interviewed. Miss Jessie Lane Powell, the ladies from R&J Accessories in Lexington, Talani Jolly. She's a harpist. I don't know if you know anything about her or not. Yeah. So I've touched base with her. She actually did my first phone interview, and now I'm like an hour away from her. So I'm actually gonna get to meet her actually now finally. But so you're amongst the greats.
Awesome. So, I love being amongst the greats. I feel at home there.
That's right. So, because you are, and we have to let everybody know that everybody's great, no matter what they're dealing with, they're going through.
Right. Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. And again, folks, you've heard it, raw, uncut, just like it needs to be. No sugar. I'm telling you. And
awesome.
No sugar. So I got one thing to say as I close it out, and you can hang on 1 second, Djuan.
Yeah.
At the end of every video, I gotta ask people this question, and I know you agree with me on this. Are you living your dream, or are you still asleep?
No, I am living my dream.
Definitely.
Got time for sleep.
You have to. You. It's cool to dream it, but you gotta wake up and you gotta roll with it.
Absolutely.
All right. Excellent.